Krieghoff have been making guns since 1886, and yet this is the one they are most famous for, the K80. I'm going to be reviewing this gun today. This is a Vienna Scroll Parcours. And slightly interestingly, the sponsor of this episode, Tweedle, whose link is in the description, is actually giving this gun away when I am done with it. So, without further ado, let's look over her. This gun has been sent down from Malmo Guns, which is the gun shop the voucher for this gun will be given away from. It comes in this beautiful ABS case, branded Krieghoff, with spare chokes, a choke key, a stock adjustment or a stock removal tool, a trigger adjustment tool, 5 different chokes, and I must admit the choke key is one of my favourites on the market. The fact that it just drops into this compact unit and you can just take it out, it drops down. I understand that this doesn't really make much of a difference, but it's nice. It's nice. It's nice to have nice stuff. The back is fitted with a Kickies pad. Obviously on this, which is a premium shotgun, I think it retails at about £17,000, it is hand fitted, so the wood to plastic and pad fit is perfect, which is nice. Krieghoff of earlier years perhaps didn't come with such nice wood, but for the last sort of 15 years, you rarely see one with ugly timber. And well, I think this one's a very particularly nice piece of wood. So 14 3/4 inch stock, 35 and 50mm drop. So it's quite high, but I would say it's a modern height. It's fully adjustable as well, so you can take that up, across, left and right. But actually the stock specs on this are gonna be suitable for a lot of people. This is gonna be the same stock spec that I shoot with in a second, although it will be a different gun to keep this one new. The profile of the stock on a Parcours is slightly slimmer than the Supersports, but what really does it with Krieghoff is how slim the back end of the action is. What that lends you to is a thin neck, and as such, actually quite a nice grip to get your thumb around. They always feel great in the hand, I think, anyway. You've got an incidental palm swell, where it's actually quite slim around the back. The palm swell doesn't have to be too big, so it feels very natural. You can't hate it. The action itself, the K80 action, is derived from the K32 action, which is derived from the Remington 3002 action. So you have this sliding top latch here that comes over the barrel and actually locks it in place. There is upsides and downsides. The downsides are pretty much purely aesthetic, as far as I can see. I don't think it looks bad. I like the fact that it looks quite mechanical, quite engineered. But it's not going to tick any boxes for classic beauty. Or maybe it is. You tell me. Again, it doesn't look like a conventional gun. That does things to me. I know certain people that will put off. Positives are, it's really easy to clip other barrels into it. Where you've got this gradient on the side, the ability to have different barrel sets for a Krieghoff is a lot. It takes a lot less work to fit the barrels to one of these than it will another gun. And as such, it's really easy to get different barrels for them. In fact, for the majority, they just clip in and off you go. Whereas with other guns, you do need to have them regulated, so on and so forth. The safety catch on one of these has a little push button style, and that comes back from their drilling days where you do actually sort of want it to not knock off easily. It's quite nice. Press the button in, and back it comes, press the button in, and forward it goes. It takes absolutely no effort. It's just a nice little feature, if you will. The trigger on this gun is fully adjustable back and forth, and you have the selector in front of the trigger there. We'll go into this gun after we've shot it and just show you what the insides look like. They're quite cool. It's one of my favourite things about Krieghoff is the way that they work. So the Remington was designed originally in 1932, hence Remington 32, but it was ceased, the production ceased just before the war or during the war. And then in the mid-50s, Krieghoff essentially came out with the same design of top-locking action, very similar to the Remington. And then in 1980, they did a real big mechanical update that brought the K80 into bear. Subsequent to that, there's been a couple of other little updates, but I think it's remained relatively unchanged since 2008, 2009. Could be wrong, but I hope I'm not. Because of the way this sliding top catch operates with the top lever is quite short and takes quite a bit of pressure to move over. But it's not horrible. It's got a big paddle there so you can fit your thumb against it, and they're not a hard thing to operate. This is brand new and it just feels quite good. Krieghoff obviously offer a million different options. Maybe not a million, but the options are pretty limitless. So this is a Vienna scroll. There are tons of different engraving options available. I quite like this one. It's classy, it's just Germanic enough, but you know, very appealing. The forend is quite an interesting one. It's got a little latch in there that connects onto the forend loop, which is a slightly unusual shape. You have an interchangeable bearing piece at the back, so that can be changed to keep the gun feeling tight. And I love the way that this inlet goes along there. And then if you look on the inside and you see all of the ejector work, it's a techie's gun. One thing can be said for Krieghoff, there's a lot of parts. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but there's a lot of parts. And if you like the way a gun works, they're quite exposed, which is nice, I think. The shape of the K80 forend as well, although they do offer different shapes, this is probably the most famous one. That wide back to that slim forend. The depth versus the sort of thin width is very appealing. Fits the hand well, and to be fair, a lot of manufacturers have gone down this same sort of taper and style. It's made out of the same category 3 woodwork as a stock, and they are laser in checkered, which is nice, the laser checkering. It's very pleasant, not too sharp, just enough grit. There's various worse jobs out there. I like the big checkering panels across the grip, and then the smaller one on the offside. It does make sense to have asymmetrical checkering in my head, especially for a right-hander, because you don't need anything other than a couple of bits for your fingers to touch on for reference, maybe. These are Parcours barrels, 18.6 board, steel proofed, 3-inch, 32-inch barrels. They're Parcours, which means you have the solid midrib there as opposed to the hung barrels, and you have the very nice parallel machined rib, which is ventilated with twin bead sights. I love how simple K80 barrels are. They are just easy. I know it probably sounds really stupid, but you know, there's no springs in the ejectors, even the ejector shape. Look how simple those ejectors are. The monoblock is quite low profile, as is the action. The action does weigh quite a bit, and that's no bad thing either. Adds a lot of mid-weight, which is part of why these guns are so popular. Anyway, I shot one of these, or something very similar to one of these, last week. See how we got on.
So Tweedle is a competition platform that specialises in field sports prizes, and in our 18 months of existence we've made over 150 winners. Parazzis, Krieghoffs, Brownings, Miracous, day shooting, cartridges, cars, lots of cash and everything in between. The odds are always in your favour of winning. There's a set amount of tickets available from start to finish at the same price from start to finish as well. So yeah, check us out, tweedle.com, enter one of our competitions, and who knows, you can become one of our latest winners.
So welcome to EJ Churchill's. I am here with Sam from Tweedle, who is giving away the gun we've just looked at, which is quite cool, mate.
Yeah, very cool, yeah. It's a really big competition by our standards, because it's a lot of gun, money-wise.
Wait, what does it retail at?
£16,880.
It's not a small or insignificant amount of money.
No, it's not.
But they are lovely, and as we're about to find out, we've got a Parcours and a Supersport over there.
We do. Neither of them are the gun that we're giving away, but
they're similar.
Very similar, yeah.
I know the difference, but it's going to be interesting sharing the difference between those two guns with you and seeing how a man of your calibre handles himself in this arena.
A man that hasn't shot since the last day of the season, may I add.
But he hasn't forgotten any of his excuses.
No, absolutely. I noticed that you had a warm-up and now I've not. Now we're properly rolling.
Take some ammunition. Have a warm-up.
Right,
hey bird. Mate, you said they got 2 demo guns in that shop at EJ Churchill's that fit me perfectly.
I don't recall that. I don't recall me saying that.
No, clearly, sorry, I was high.
Yeah.
Nice. The Parcours has got fast as something barrels.
Yeah.
The Supersport will handle that movement a bit better.
Yeah.
But obviously this is clays, and clays aren't game, and the Parcours is designed for a different style of shooting than the Supersport is.
Thanks, Johnny.
There you go.
Keep it coming.
There you go. Hey. Man's got skills, man's not hot, never hot, because he lives in the north. All right.
Very true.
So I think at this point, let's have a few shots through the Supersport with
Yep.
the shot cam on, and then we'll take the shot cam off and we'll just have a shot of them both and then watch a pretty B-roll segment, and then we're going to talk about it. Click back in. Boom. So, I mean, we were going to give a conclusion at the end, but we both can't shoot this.
No.
Which is good because he's giving away a parkour which hits everything.
Yeah, so this is the Supersport, which, no idea where I am on it. It shoots very, very high.
It does shoot high.
You see a lot of rib on it as you look down. And
But
obviously,
the sight picture versus its point of impact is different to what you'd expect, isn't it?
yeah,
Because you can deal when a gun shoots high because you know the sight picture in relation, but relearning the sight picture to the point of impact
yeah.
probably takes more time than we got today. That's why we're not going to shoot that one that well.
No.
Obviously. I love the Supersport sight picture more than parkour, and Solomon's is, I can shoot quite well.
Yeah.
But his seems to shoot a different point of impact to that one.
I've shot one before as well, and not to name drop, but Mark Windsor's, and I actually shot remarkably well with it.
We have famous friends.
Yes. And he was actually teaching me to shoot with both eyes open at that point, which I've for some reason not done, and I shot very well with it. This, on the other hand, is completely different gravy.
Parazzi's and Krieghoff's and a lot of the high-end stuff, there's such variance in barrel weight, it points to me about there's too much custom stuff going on, I think, to be able to just say, I shot one, I didn't like it.
Yeah, and that's the good thing about the competition that we're doing is the parkour, and which apparently do fit the general man a lot better than this is a bit more adjustable and you've got to do a bit more faffing around with.
A bit more learning, perhaps.
Which obviously that is adjusted currently.
Certain things that are remarkable, recoil is pretty non-existent.
Yeah.
Certainly through this one, I think handles the recoil better than this. That's strange, isn't it? I thought all of the things I came in thinking would be the case are slightly different. I thought I'd shoot that better, to be blunt.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I think we should put that away.
I agree, because it's demoralising.
And we'll just continue playing with this one.
Yeah.
And that's not to say Supersports are bad, just neither of us can shoot that one.
No. And that was more relevant because that is what can be won on the website currently.
Not to say a Supersport might not come up in the future.
No,
because Tweedle's
absolutely.
always giving stuff away.
Now he's showing off. Too much time spent with Sir Solomon's
Famous friends.
famous friends.
You know what we would say down south at this point? Get at 'em.
Get at him, boy.
Get at 'em, boy. Lovely.
Zero recoil, by the way.
Lovely. D.
Pull.
Did you call Paul?
I did.
I didn't understand it.
Paul.
Outrageous accent. I think with the shotgun it's actually a little bit too much work.
Yeah.
It's not even that front heavy, it's just beefy. It's a bit slower, a bit more controlled. And with the shotgun maybe it was a bit too much control.
Yeah.
So, this gun balances just behind the hinge and it is fast.
It is fast. I was way below that B-bird. I was rushing because you don't have a lot of time there.
It's very simple with a front, without that front weight to just
Yeah.
bugger it offline by about a foot.
D-bird. Pull.
Nice. There you go. I think this could be one of the greatest guns ever built, and I think a lot of people would agree with me.
When you consider all the rave reviews it gets, it actually does live up to its name, doesn't it? Considering this is the first time we've shot it. Oh, he's only gone and done it.
But if your scorer wasn't paying attention, it wouldn't have been a hit.
They're very nice. You can tell they're very well built. They swing lovely. There's very little recoil.
And as we've proven, there's clearly one for everybody,
Yeah,
because that other one,
was not for us.
not today.
No,
How many guns have you actually given away, by the way? This isn't your first.
it's not our first, no. I dread to think. I don't have a full count of how many guns we're giving away. We've made 156 people winners to date, to be absolutely accurate. That's how many people have won.
It's quite impressive.
Yeah, in just coming up 18 months. So try and do all sorts of guns, anything from, you know, a £20,000 Parazzi / Krieghoff to, most recently we just did a Maxus Browning Ultimate Duck, so a
Nice.
semi-auto.
So it's something for everybody potentially.
Yeah.
And obviously the price of tickets and the chance of winning changes exponentially between them.
Exactly. So the bigger the prize, the bit more expensive the ticket will be. From a £10 ticket to a £15 ticket, it will never be any more than that. Not on a gun competition anyway.
Better odds on the lottery, how'd you get to win a Krieghoff?
Yeah, of course. And you can always see how many tickets are available. It's all very transparent on the page there. It never changes from the start of the competition to the end, and show you odds.
That's quite interesting. Do you fancy a competition?
Yeah.
No, I do. But first, back to the studio. Right, never going dry with one of these. So, just a little squirt of oil, silicone oil, grease, anything really, or else you can end up tearing the back end up. That just glides straight in. Just drop the top lever down quickly, which is done on one of these by this little catch here. Push that in and that drops forward and off she comes. There is a Krieghoff action. Where it's quite a squat box around the back, it is inherently quite squidged in there. It's a very compact unit. There's not much space. It's sort of shoehorned in there if you like. Very efficient. So first things first, the safety catch, which is quite nice when you look on the inside. You have these two machine notches. You press the button down, that rolled pin moves, and you click it into the next one. It's a lovely, lovely system. As all good guns should, as you push the top lever across, this rod comes back and it actually disconnects your sear block as you go. And as such, even if you pull the trigger or something bad happened, there is very little way of this gun going off by accident unless it is properly closed, which is great. And that's kind of what you want, a safe gun. The Krieghoff trigger itself is quite interesting in that they're relatively complex. You flick this little bar on the bottom and that rotates this ball in the top. It's quite nice that it's rounded, which means it actually always glides into place perfectly. It's not an overly complicated thing. It's just different to how other people do it, and that is sometimes good, providing they work. And in terms of reliability, Krieghoffs are pretty legendary. In fact, for those who are putting high volume shots through their gun, because of the way they lock up, because of the way the action is, they seem to be the gun of choice, which is great. You have your two tumblers in the front with the pins buried in there. It is a lovely design. When you pull the trigger, safety off, this little bar directly connects with your sear at the back here, which connects with your tumbler. Ready? Bang. And as it comes back, this disconnects, it's pushed over to the next trigger, bang. It's a really simple system. We're just going to put the barrels on and then recock it. You start it off, and there's a little connection rod in the bottom there that just pushes those two tumblers, hammers, all the way back until they set back into the sears. Apart from one tiny spring in the bottom here, everything else is done off of quite large coil springs. Quite large coil springs are better than small ones, generally speaking, for consistency. One of my favourite things about the Krieghoff design is the fact that you have this sort of removable bridle either side, which is sort of sidelock-esque in the way that it is. I mean, I understand that it is totally different, but I quite like it. I know that's probably silly. I don't prefer it to any other action, but it is at least different. You know, most action designs now are based around one or two parent designs, and you get kind of bored of looking at them. This is cool, and techie, and robust. All right, we'll flick over to slow-mo and just watch the operation. It is interesting, it's utterly simple, and the trigger brakes on Krieghoffs are lovely, consistent, and very reliable. Let's pop the stock back on, but just quickly before we do, you'll notice on the stock, part of the designs, you have these little hand cutouts here so that the breech can slide over the top of the wood without marking it. It's something slightly different to what other guns have to have. I don't know, 5 targets, full use. Yeah, I don't really care about beating you. You probably don't care about beating me.
Well, based on previous standards, you're definitely going to beat me, so I'll just have to take this.
So we've got a rule when we do the clay tour. Whoever shoots better for the rest of the day will lose the competition. It's just the way that it works.
And whoever wins buys lunch, I heard.
I mean, we're going to Macca's, yeah? Why did you even start Tweedle in the first place?
I'd had the idea for a long time.
What did you do before?
Anything that would make me a quid, including driving tractors for many hours a week in the silage season. That's basically what I did. I was an agricultural contractor with just a huge passion for shooting. But no, competition companies were becoming more and more popular, and I was well aware of the fact that shooting is very expensive, so
It is.
sort of put two and two together and thought people would want to win the opportunity to win things like this and day shooting on prestigious estates.
Because to spend £3,000 for a day to go and shoot some birds, it's a stretch, mate.
Yeah, by a long stretch.
For the majority of us, it's a huge stretch.
Yeah, and genuinely, without doing this job, I would never be able to go and see these places. So it's opened a lot of doors that way, and you know, meeting the winners is the best part of the job. You know, we've had a lot of lads that have hardly been on game days, then going straight away to Water Priory, and they're like, yeah, spoilt at the start.
All right, mate, you've seen it. Full use on each target.
Okay. Pull.
What a nasty target. This ground does like throwing something with distance, but not a great deal of power.
No, it's just so slow and sluggish, and
You'd be so precise.
Yeah.
B-bird, shall we see it? There it is.
we can manage them.
Shot. Theory. That is a nasty little target right there.
Again, you don't see it until it's over the banking, so forget the first half of it, I suppose. What is that?
Two? I think that was a 2.
That was awful. So,
2 to beat. 2 to beat.
no pressure. Wood pigeon.
I'm going to have a go at that in a minute. That's a nasty little target.
Partridge. Crow.
To be fair, that did look like a crow. That
He was never gonna
backfired on you.
He was never going to miss that.
Oh, God.
Oh, wow. Here we go.
I mean, that was a very different target to what I thought it would be.
Scores are currently level going into the final target. It's a very easy target. It needs very little. And
That's why you hit it straight off the bat, yeah?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you not see that? Yes!
That's a draw, mate.
Yes! We're not finishing on a draw. No way.
No.
I'm not buying you a club sandwich and then you buy me a club sandwich. Someone has to buy the club sandwich.
Hip shooting is no joke, and we don't mean to promote it, but I mean, at least we're wearing glasses nowadays, all right? Cool.
Very, very not skilled at hip shooting, so this is quite unfair, but
Oh, hello, baby.
Mate, that's the easiest target I've ever shot from the hip. If you don't do it first time, I'll be shocked. You don't even need 2 shots in there. Wait for it to lock onto your barrel and just literally just grind off the front edge. Mate, you waited too late. Go on, have that again.
I wasn't actually far away though, you could see.
Well, this has been fun. It has been way overdue for me to actually do a proper review on a Krieghoff. And thank you for, well, giving us the opportunity to A, win one, B, review one, and C, draw with you.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, mate. Thanks for coming down. And, you know, nice to do something with you, exposing Tweedle to the TGS audience, and hopefully some of them can buy a ticket, and who knows, they could own a Krieghoff.
Right, it's been good fun.
Make sure you head over to tweedle.com, one last plug, grab your tickets for the Krieghoff. All the information that you need to know about the gun is on there, all the amount of tickets one person can buy, the price of them, and yeah, full description. We will be going live on Facebook to draw the winner very shortly, so don't miss out. Good luck.
You don't get the status Krieghoff has by being average. The K80 itself is just a great gun. If you want to take on trap or sporting or game, or in fact any shotgun sport whatsoever, this has to be near the top of your list of guns that you fancy owning. I think a lot of people are put off, as we said when we were out shooting it, by trap spec'd ones and ones that aren't quite so normally spec'd. But I tell you what, the Parcours is just a lovely gun. And as I said, you can always get Supersport barrels for it, and you can really convert this action into anything you wanted, which is part of why Krieghoff are quite as good as they are. Personally, I love the way that it shoots. I love Parcours, they're such a forgiving gun. I love the way it looks. The Vienna scroll is very, very classy in itself. And that Cat 3 wood is epic. And to be honest, I'm not usually one for entering competitions, but I kind of fancy this, to be honest. For 19 quid, it would be nice to win. Although I'm sure at this point, everyone would then say that it's rigged if I did win. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Take care. Goodbye. Good luck if you do enter the comp. Thanks for Tweedle for sponsoring this vid. I've wanted a reason to do a full review on a K80 for a while. And Tweedle getting this sent down from Malmo, well, that was a good enough reason.